All right, thanks for joining me back here on this newly developed YouTube channel. Shout out to everybody who is subscribed. Thank you so much. If you're watching this for the first time, please subscribe and you might see more of these YouTube videos from me in the future. First things first, it is now official. Friday afternoon, the 49ers announced that they have signed Brandon Aiyuk to a 4-year contract extension that takes him through the 2028 season. So the initial reporting on this was that it was a 4-year extension worth 120 million. That's 30 million a year. So with this year, basically he is signed for 5 seasons, including this year when he was scheduled to make 14.1. The official details aren't released yet, but we can assume that that 14.1 million number stays the same. There will be some, signing bonuses and all that, but basically, if that stays the same with the $30 million per year extension after that, it comes out to $26.8 million per year over the 5 years. So a very good deal for Brandon Aiyuk, and 49ers obviously are comfortable with this, and they feel like it gives them enough wiggle room to do the stuff that they need to do in the future to keep the team together and keep the team competitive into the future. So here's what John Lynch had to say about the signing of Brandon Aiyuk to this contract extension. He said, "We were thrilled to draft Brandon in 2020 and now equally excited to have him in the fold for years to come. Brandon is a special talent who is a warrior on the field and plays with a passion that we look for in 49ers. We look forward to Brandon continuing to be part of what we strive to accomplish as an organization." So there it is, Brandon Aiyuk officially back with the team. And I know every year after the cuts are made and the 49ers have this, extended break heading into the weekend, Kyle Shanahan throws a big party at his place. All the players who made the team are invited. And I actually wondered late in the week, I was wondering if why would if Brandon Ayuk's going to be invited to that party or if he'll show up to that party. I mean, he was on the trip to Las Vegas with the team for the final preseason game, but I kind of wondered like what that was going to be like. Well, I can tell you now that yes, definitely Brandon Ayuk is invited to that party, and I'm sure everybody there is going to have a good time. Thing to keep in mind, and we talked about the contract. What does the contract look like? What will it look like? I spoke to an agent who said that that paperwork will probably be turned into the league, soon, but it might not be available for a couple of days. One thing that he said is keep an eye on if there's a no trade clause in that contract. I don't think the 49ers have done no trade clauses in their contracts before, so I wouldn't expect them to have a no trade clause in this contract this time either. And this was something that, I mean, it came so close for trades. And, I talked about repeatedly over the past 3 weeks is, 49ers had the framework of a trade done with New England that would have brought Kendrick Bourne back to the 49ers. 49ers would have gotten some quality draft picks in addition to Kendrick Bourne. They had a deal done with the Cleveland Browns where Amari Cooper would have been coming to the 49ers. The 49ers also would have gotten some quality draft picks. The one thing that I talked about with the Pittsburgh Steelers is that the Steelers did not have a wide receiver to offer up to the 49ers in return. But what they could do was create a situation where they provided the 49ers with a draft pick. They would have been multiple draft picks, a second round, a third round pick, maybe even more, that the 49ers could have used perhaps a third rounder and flipped it for a receiver on another team. And according to the reporting of Diana Rossini from ESPN, that's exactly where things were heading, where the 49ers had an agreement in principle in place with the Steelers, but the 49ers needed to get a wide receiver in return. And the guy that one of the options that was focused on, according to Rossini, was the Denver Broncos, Cortland Sutton. 49ers asked the Broncos for a third round pick in exchange for Sutton. Broncos said no. So that deal was dead. And that is why things got done with Brandon Aiyuk. And I think ultimately it turned out the way Aiyuk wanted. It turned out the way the 49ers wanted. I always got the sense that the number one priority for both sides was to get something done. And with Aiyuk, when he started to wonder whether something would get done with the 49ers, that's when he requested a trade. when the 49ers started to wonder whether Brandon Aiyuk would ever accept their offer, that's when they pursued a trade. Ultimately, it kind of comes back to where I think a lot of people, most people, maybe all people thought that it was going to end up from the beginning. So that's where we are with that. 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk remain together. And then as far as what he can do early in the season, I really think it's contingent on how he looks out there at practice on, let's see, they practice on Tuesday, have a day off Wednesday, and then practice again on Thursday. So Thursday will be the big practice. How he practices, how Ricky Pearsall practices on Thursday, and then how they come back and feel and look on Friday will probably have a long way to go with how much they're able to play in that game Monday night against the Jets in week one. Of course, the other big situation hanging over the 49ers is Trent Williams. And the 49ers have really put all their eggs in the Trent Williams basket because when they put together their 53-man roster, really no backup tackles at all. It's Jaylon Moore, who's been lining up at left tackle all through training camp. And it's been Colton McKivitz, obviously, on the right side. I was just checking out the 49ers' number 2 offense, and it's 2 guys on this practice squad who are the tackles whenever the second team offense is out there or the scout team offense. So that what they did after the cut to 53, Isaac Alarcon, who's an international player, he was at right tackle, and Sebastian Gutierrez, another practice squad guy at left tackle. I thought that there was a chance that they would bring back either Chris Hubbard or Brandon Parker to the practice squad, but the 49ers decided not to do that. In the locker room on Thursday, I spoke a long time to Jaylon Moore, and he's a guy that is 4th year as a pro. I remember writing a lot of really positive things about him as a rookie. He was, I believe, a 5th-round draft pick from Western Michigan. I remember Joe Staley coming out and working with him and being very impressed by what he saw from the rookie. And he's basically started 2 or 3 games in each of his first 3 NFL seasons with kind of mixed results, but he is really prepared for this as well as he ever has been. But of course, no one associated with the 49ers hopes that Jaylon Moore is out there. They hope that this thing gets done with Trent Williams. That remains up in the air, very much up in limbo. I also talked a long time to Dominic Pooney, who is definitely, I was going to say, penciled in to start at right guard. I think he's inked in to start at right guard because there's really nobody else at this point. John Feliciano is on IR. He's out for at least half the season. Spencer Burford really didn't practice much at all during training camp. So this is the Dominic Pooney show. And when I talked to him about his readiness to play week one against the Jets, the one thing he pointed out to me, and now this applies to Jaylon Moore as well, the 49ers offense practice, obviously, against the 49ers defense every day. The 49ers defense runs a certain scheme, and that scheme is very similar, if not identical, to what the New York Jets run under Robert Saleh, the head coach for the Jets, former 49ers defensive coordinator, and Jeff Ulbrich, the former 49ers linebacker. So, in essence, every practice the 49ers have had has been, in essence, preparation to face the Jets defense. And I asked Pooney, I was like, how did you know that? Like, is that something that you just knew independently? And he said that that's something that the offensive line has been talking about basically from day one of training camp, that the stuff that the 49ers defense will be doing against the 49ers offense in practice, that's what you can expect to see on Monday Night Football week one, Monday, September 9th against the Jets. So that was an interesting perspective to hear Pooney talk about that. And he's super confident. Jaylon Moore seems to be confident. He picked up a lot over the last 3 years behind Trent Williams. He said the best left tackle in football history that he's been playing behind. He's ready for anything. He said his focus, he'd love to be out there Monday Night Football. His first NFL start, I believe, was on Monday Night Football against the Rams back in 2021. So he seems to be ready, but also he's fully aware that the minute that Trent Williams is back with the team, all Jaylon Moore was doing was keeping the seat warm, and he'll move to the sidelines and return to his role as a swing tackle. Okay, so that's it for now. Again, thank you so much for kind of hanging with me through this kind of introductory phase of my YouTube channel. And by the way, I did write about Jaylon Moore at NBCSportsBayArea.com, so check that out. Also read about John Lynch. The NFL appointed him to the competition committee, so that's kind of a big deal because the competition committee is the group, very select. I think it's 8 people on that group that get together and they discuss NFL rules every year, things that need to be tweaked, and everything of that nature. So it's kind of a powerful organization comprised of NFL personnel. So check that out on NBC Sports Bay Area. Again, really appreciate it if you subscribe to this. The more people who subscribe, the more likely I am to continue this whole thing. And for those of you who have already subscribed and have watched these videos, I appreciate it. I know it doesn't always look the prettiest. I'm not in a big hurry to kind of polish this thing up and join the flock of people who are doing YouTubes, but maybe at some point down the line, we'll devote a little bit more attention to this and making it look and sound like a high quality production that maybe it doesn't look like right now. So once again, thank you, and hopefully I'll see you back here real soon.